It's 2 o'clock, so I will call this meeting to order for the Corporation of the Township of Portsmouth on September 2nd, 2020. And just before we start, I'd just like to let council know that what we're going to do is we're going to bring forward our procedural bylaw amendment first. And that way we can get that passed. That way our delegation will be able to participate in this council meeting. So we'll go through up to disclosure of pecuniary interests, and then we will skip down to the procedural bylaw, deal with that, and then come back. By then it should be about 2:05, and we'll do the delegation. So I'll start with roll call, which is Councillor Spoulos.
Present.
Councillor Bailey.
Present.
Councillor Bulmer.
Present.
Councillor Goyda.
Present.
I'm here as well. All right, and with the roll call done, we will start our moment of reflection. Okay, that concludes our moment of reflection, and we'll move on to the confirmation of the agenda. Ms. White-Fox, you have a resolution?
I do, and with Council and Mayor Seeley's approval, we've actually included as part of the confirmation resolution the portion of the procedural bylaw that speaks to the electronic delegations just being approved if that's what is being chosen to do. So I'll just read that all out and just be that's included in it as well. So that Council approves the September 2nd, 2020 agenda as circulated, and that item 9.3.1 regarding electronic delegations be moved forward in the agenda to be considered immediately following item 5.0, disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof.
Perfect. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Spoulos, seconder. Councillor Goyda, all in favor. Councillor Spoulos.
In favor.
Councillor Bailey.
In favor.
Councillor Bulmer.
In favor.
Councillor Goyda.
In favor.
And I'm in favor, so that's carried. And so then we'll move on to disclosure of pecuniary interests. Any disclosure of pecuniary interests? Councillor Goyda.
I am declaring pecuniary interest for 6.2 through 6.6, which is the aggregate assessment support resolutions. And although I do not have a pecuniary interest to receive those reports or correspondence, I do have a pecuniary interest in any discussion or decisions regarding the position of the township as a family member operates an aggregate in the township.
Okay. All right. Any other disclosure of pecuniary interests? No. All right, so we'll skip down to 9.31, which is the procedural bylaw update, and we're going to deal with the delegation portion. So Ms. White-Fox, you want to read that resolution?
So the resolution is just a portion of the resolution for the entire report. So just that report ADM 2020-033, section B14M regarding electronic delegation be received, and that council authorize section B14M to be approved.
Okay, can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Spoulos, seconder. Councillor Bailey. Okay, any discussion on it before we call a vote? No, looks good. Councillor Spoulos.
You want me to vote in favor or?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, in favor.
Yep. Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, in favor.
Councillor Bulmer.
Favor.
Okay, and Councillor Goyda.
In favor.
Okay, that's carried. So now we're right at 2:05. So Ms. White-Fox, can you bring Kevin Mitchell into the group for us, please? Okay. Kevin, you're muted currently. I don't know if you're actually in the meeting yet or not. There you are.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay?
I can hear you very well. So you have the floor whenever you want to begin.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mayor Sealy, members of council, staff, and public that are in attendance. My name is Kevin Mitchell. I'm the Director of Property Planning and Approvals at CRH Canada, and we operate locally as Dufferin Aggregates. The purpose of my presentation today is to address the inner pit haul road from our pit number 2 on Victoria Road to our processing plant on Brock Road. Before I start into the presentation, I wanted to quickly point out how easy it was to get in contact with staff during the COVID pandemic. I reached out to the deputy clerk. She immediately answered the phone and moved my call along very quickly. And I think given these times and everything, it's greatly appreciated to know that that can happen very quickly. I also want to thank Mayor Sealy and Councillor McKay for facilitating conversations over the weekend. I hate to bother people on the weekends, and at this point in time, both of them stepped up, and so thank you for doing that. A little bit of background on why I'm presenting today is, back in 1980, when we assumed the previous owner of pit number 2 on Victoria Road was licensing, they entered into an agreement with the township. And in that agreement, it indicated that no processing could be done on site, and it laid out the very specific haul road. So any material that was extracted at pit 2 would go north on Victoria Road, west on Wellington Road 34, and south on Brock Road to come into our pit number 1 right beside Nestle. And that agreement's been in place since 1980, and it was amended in 1990. The route that we've got there is restricted from hauling from May the 1st until November the 30th, and it's Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, from time to time in the past, we have approached council and asked to extend the season if we'd had a breakdown or the weather was going to be okay. But typically, our washing operations end in December, but with climate change, it has gotten a little bit longer. And in the past, council has been very supportive of those changes. Only last week, we found out that the haul road was going to be closed due to construction work at the Brock Road and Wellington Road intersection. And unfortunately, we weren't provided any notification by the county. And we found ourselves scrambling last week to figure out how we were going to actually haul material in. We don't have material on site. There's no other way to feed the plant. And we were looking at potentially 5 weeks of being shut down. It's not as easy as extending our processing season because of the weather, and also that we have the haul road. And so going on other roads wasn't an option. We needed to reach out to you folks. So the conversations that I've had, and as of late this morning, would indicate that the conversations with the county and staff, and from either the township or council and the mayor speaking to the county have come up with a solution for us. And what they're proposing is that we would haul north on Victoria Road, west on Victoria Road. They would have flagmen or women at the location to guide us through the construction zone, and we would go with a normal route down to pit 2, or from pit 1 to pit 2. When the trucks are empty, to return back to the site, they would go south on Brock Road, turn left at Morriston, is it Badenoch? Is that the correct pronunciation of that road? And then go north on Victoria Road. So we would have a loop coming through full on the main haul road and going back empty on the temporary haul road. Work is scheduled for 5 weeks, and they're indicating it should get done quicker than that, but they've had some delays due to some utility relocations. But this morning they're indicating they hopefully could do that a little quicker. So today we're asking for council's support to allow us to temporarily utilize this new haul road and for the construction period, whether that's 2 weeks or 5 weeks. The other request that we'd like to make today is to extend the hours that we've got for shipping. And so we would like, right now we're allowed to ship Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so for the rest of the 2020 operating season until the end of November, we would propose to be able to ship on Saturdays. And hopefully that could be something like from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And also to extend the time Monday to Friday from a 7 a.m. start until an 8 p.m. stop. That would allow us to work with the construction guys, maybe not use the route a day or two when they're doing things and really need to change the grade and temporarily really close the road. and also to get some inventory in and out to build it up over that period of time. Again, I can't thank whoever was reaching out through this conversations over the last week for helping us out. And if there's any questions that you have for us, I'd be happy to answer those. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, it was a bit of a busy weekend trying to find some resolve for this. I'm glad that we've been able to find some common ground on an alternate haul route. And I have, this is the first I've heard about these expanded hours for the remainder of the year and working on Saturdays. So I have my reservations around that. The haul route going in, the typical traditional haul route and then coming back empty through Morrison is something I believe residents could tolerate for this short window. So I'll open up to council, see what they have to say. Councillor Spoulos.
That's a question. When is the construction expected to be over to allow normal operation for your trucks?
Originally, it was to commence on August 31st and end September 25th, and they've had a week delay. So it would be the first week in October now. So starting on the 8th on Tuesday next week, and then finishing up the first week of October.
So if they go back to normal in October, why do you need all this extra time?
Well, if
Weekends and extended hours on weekdays.
so, we know we're going to be shut down a couple of days because we don't have inventory. We didn't get any notification, and there may be a delay of a day or two. And then during construction, we've also been told that they have to change the grade significantly enough that it may not be open every day. And so rather than looking at alternative routes and to take the loaded trucks, this morning when we heard back from the county late this morning, we quickly talked internally and thought, okay, I mean, people have been bending and trying to accommodate us a little bit. We thought we would reach out and ask council if we were able to not ship a couple of days during the construction period to facilitate construction and make it easier for them, that we could make up a few days through the rest of the operating season. So hauling an hour or two each day would help a little bit and certainly would on Saturdays. And hence that's our request.
Okay, so the next question is, past weekdays, you're asking for extension till 8 p.m. from, I guess, your normal hour is 5. So 5 to 8 p.m., how many trucks per hour do you expect? And likewise, on a Saturday, how many trucks per hour do you expect as well?
So right now we're using somewhere between 8 and 10 trucks daily, and they haul around 5,500 tons of material in daily. And some days are better than others depending on traffic and that sort of thing. We know going the longer route, it's going to take more time, and also getting through the construction zone. And so the worst case prediction that we have is we think we're going to need to increase from 10 trucks to 23. Now, if that was if we had to go the long way, either up Maltby or down to Morriston, that was when we looked at that originally. So it's somewhere between 10 and 23. Now, going through the construction zone, it will be a bit of a delay. And then we also have concern that going south to Morriston, trying to make that left-hand turn is going to possibly take time at certain times of the day. I sat there this morning for a little while in time traffic, and I was 50 seconds waiting to get across there. And so because of those delays, we're going to probably be between 10, I don't think we'll get to 23, but it'll be, close to 20 trucks per day that we would be hauling. If the construction zone is open to us and we can ship on a Saturday, it would be back to those normal number of trucks. And now we're going to be meeting with the county and the contractor later this week to talk about those sorts of things. But so it's completely unknown right now, but that's kind of the worst case number of trucks and the timing that we're considering.
Yeah, I'm more concerned in the quiet hours of the evening. You want to extend the hours from 5 till 8 o'clock. So that's a 3-hour window. How many trucks would you expect in that 3-hour window on a weekday? And Saturdays, you don't do anything. So on a Saturday, how many trucks would you expect? I guess you're telling me it's 10 to 23 on a Saturday, but on 5 to 8 p.m., how many trucks would you expect at that time?
We would probably keep the same number of trucks hauling all day. And so if we're able to do the old haul route, the original one, the one that's approved, we could be closer to 10 trucks. And if it's not opened up and we have to go the long rate, it's probably gonna be a higher number than that. I apologize, I can't tell you specifically. We just don't know how long it's gonna take to haul it. We've never gone that way before. We've traveled it in our own vehicles and measured it off in distance and that sort of thing. But those are busy roads, and turning left in a big truck does take some time. So is it the median? Is it somewhere in that 15 number? I'm going to guess that, Councilor Lucipulis.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just a quick question for you, Kevin. Since being notified that there would be a possible closure, have you been stockpiling in Aberfoyle? Speaking with Don Kudo, and there's potential that this start date of the 8th may be delayed another week. So that gives you the opportunity for the remainder of this week and possibly next week to stockpile.
Yeah, the guys have been hauling in as much as they can. It's very difficult to get trucks. So we've been working with people last week to temporarily get trucks and I mean, getting trucks is tough anytime, but we've been doing as much as we possibly can. They did get the utility out there today. So it is planned as of about 11:30 this morning. They told me that it to start on Tuesday, but we have been hauling as much as we can each day between the 8 a.m. and the 6 p.m.
Councillor Bailey.
Thank you. I guess my initial concern is regarding extending the hours earlier in the morning.
Can you turn the video off, please?
We've got school starting and there's busing.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yep.
We've got school starting shortly, which means a lot more bus traffic, and a lot of the busing turns left off of Brock Road to get to Aberfoyle School. So I'm just concerned if there's more truck traffic between 7 and 8:30, that could also cause congestion and maybe some safety issues.
When the CBM pit was open adjacent to us, it was called their, oh, now the name eludes me. It was on the corner of 34 and Victoria Road. Thank you very much. They were allowed to ship at 7 a.m. And we, at other locations, we ship at that time. I understand what you're saying and that sort of thing. Again, when we came to council today, we wanted to put everything out there and be very transparent on what our thoughts are and have this chance to communicate and discuss things with you. We think it can be done safely, but I understand what you're saying, Councilor Bailey.
Yeah, and in terms of the longer haul route, in the past we have had large trucks turning left onto Badnaw Street, which did cause concern for the residents in Morriston. Now maybe knowing it's a short term will be tolerable. So I guess that's my comment there.
Councillor Balmer.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Good to see you again. To address the potential concern about the carte blanche, I shouldn't say that, maybe not carte blanche, but the extension of all these parameters to the end of the trucking season, would you be open to, what if we extended them to a week past the roundabout being reopened, and then we'd have a chance to hear from the residents if there were any issues or concerns, and we could revisit extending it as a makeup for the balance of the season. Would that work for you? That's
definitely better than what we have now, and so that would be appreciated. And maybe what a compromise to that proposal would be that we would let you know how we're making out with the inventory that we were able to build ahead and where we ended up after the construction period, to know if a 1 week catch up was good enough, or if it was a 2 week or an 8 day or something catch up, that we could touch base with either staff or council, either one, as long if the council meeting timeline flowed with the same thing, that we could do that. I would propose that as well.
Okay, then how about we look at the second meeting in October as a potential extension date. We'll extend it now. If we were to propose now to go to the second council meeting in October, we could then revisit all the facts then and extend it to the end of your season to help you catch up if that was needed. That would be acceptable. We appreciate that consideration. Okay, I don't know if the rest of council would be satisfied with that, but that would work for me. But I appreciate Councillor Bailey's point on the trucks turning left in Morriston heading up Badnaw Road. Would it be possible, would you be able to, if we approve this, provide some information, a flyer or something door to door to the residents in Morriston on that hill going up there, explaining what the markings on the trucks are and where they're going and why, so they don't become concerned there's another project going on as there was before? Would that be helpful? Would you be able to do that?
Yes, we can certainly do that. And if we could ask direction from you on where you would like that letter to be dropped off so we don't miss people, that clarification would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm thinking from the intersection to the bridge would be helpful, because those people would see the trucks. And I know typically it's all one company that the trucks have been in the past, so it'd be easily identifiable.
That's correct.
I'm also thinking the southern part of Victoria Road isn't built to a haul route standard. Perhaps we just rebuilt it, put new culverts in, and understanding these are empty trucks. Would you be comfortable if we asked the road superintendent to do a before and after and determine if there'd been any, unforeseen damage from having all these trucks rumbling up and down the road for that length of time?
That would be fine with us. Now, we would, to be honest, we would be looking back to the county. I mean, to be very frank, if they'd have come to us in May the staff today maybe aren't aware of the fact that we had this agreement, but if they'd given us notice in May, we wouldn't have to be here before you today.
Understood. And understanding that Victoria Road is a township road, not a county road.
Right. We'd be looking back to the county to say, guys, look, we're on this road only because you forced us there. So we would bring them into the conversation, but we're more than happy to facilitate what you've proposed.
Super. I'm just trying to make sure that we cover off our bases and trying to facilitate your needs, because I was surprised too the other day, and I was going through there and saw the sign, and I couldn't imagine what you're trying to deal with. So I'm supportive of all of your changes, provided that we inform the people who are going to be exposed to gravel trucks who haven't typically been, and if we address the potential impacts of Victoria Road and revisit the extension to the end of the season when we all have a better idea of how it went. So those would be my 3 items. Thank you.
Councilor Goyda?
Thank you. Well, thanks for being here today, and I can certainly appreciate the kind of jam that you're in, and that this is a real strain on your season for sure. I'm glad to hear that you have found a sort of a temporary route that could work. And I do think, as the mayor indicated earlier, I do think it is something that the residents could tolerate for a short while. In terms of the extended hours, I don't necessarily see any other, I do agree with Councillor Bailey's worry about the safety in the mornings, but I'm more so concerned about the Saturdays and the quiet enjoyment for our residents on the Saturdays. I'm not sure how much of that they'd be willing to tolerate. And so I have a bit of a concern with that. And I'm also wondering, you said that the temporary route, there'll be flagmen that will sort of guide the trucks through that construction zone, but would that still be the case on Saturdays? I'm not sure what the construction schedule is like, but if there's no construction happening on Saturdays, will there be flagmen, and how will that all work? So there's a few things about the Saturdays that kind of I feel like I'm a little unsure of, but I do like Councillor Bulmer's suggestion that maybe we allow it and revisit it in a few weeks. And I don't know if you have any information you can shed on those sort of uncertainties.
We assume that at all times they would have flag people at the intersection to allow us through, because any local traffic that will be trying to go through the intersection will be stopped and be sent around the other way, the detour route. So we assume that if it suited the contractor to actually be able to go through on a Saturday and flag people were put in place, that would be set up that way, and that might let him run 1 or 2 days during the week when he's trying to do some construction and not have us truck through there at all. And it would be a trade-off, really. I don't think we would be able to build inventory, but it would be a trade-off to let them do things at other times.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So I have a couple concerns. I'm not as comfortable with extending the hours of operations, even as far as Councillor Bulmer is recommending now. The way I see it is we have another council meeting in 2 weeks, which that gives you, well, today's pretty much done, a couple days to build some more inventory. You're indicating that you've been building inventory. We approved today the alternate haul route from your pit and running empty. And then possibly you could come back to us on the 16th, which is essentially a week after this new, week and a half of this new route being implemented for you. And then you'd be able to report back on your, not specifically your inventory levels to the stone, just whether or not it's working or not. And if you need further hours of operations, I would be more inclined today to give you the 7 a.m. start. As you mentioned, the pit next door operated from 7 a.m. So you'd probably have less, resistance from the community on that change. And that gives you an hour a day. And then, revisit on the 16th. So Ms. White Fox, do we have the resolution broken down into two components? Can we vote on the alternate route, and then we can just discuss the hours of operation, or do you want it all as one resolution?
I can split it up. I have the resolution with the alternate route for the return trips only. And then I could also include in that the notice requirement that Councillor Balmer brought up, if that's agreeable, and the road inspection to be done by the Director of Public Works as well of Victoria Road. So I have a few items here listed, however you'd like to split it up.
Maybe your pen needs to keep writing. Just so, Mr. Fowler, I know during our conversations through the weekend, there was some intention of the county to assume the potential damage to, I believe when the haul route was a gravel road, that the county would take the risk, similar to when the MTO was going to shut down concession 7 and we were going to direct aggregate trucks down concession 2. The MTO was going to assume the risk. Is there an agreement in place for this on Victoria Road South?
With discussions with the county, Mr. Kudo yesterday, we did not come to an agreement regarding any type of damage. He also indicated through good faith that the county would, if any damage was occurred, come out to look and then reassess. And I'm confident that the county, if severe damage was occurred due to the temporary haul route, that some solution would be found. So we technically do not have an agreement in place. It's more of a good faith gesture.
And was there any discussion on signage for the detour routes for the residential traffic?
No, I had indicated that I had taken the onus for the township that we were going to post Gilmore Road, no heavy truck traffic. I'm not referring to the aggregate hauling, but any heavy truck traffic coming off of Brock Road. That's what these signs are indicated for.
Yeah, so I think the county, this is their baby, and they should be signing the appropriate detour routes for all the traffic. So maybe council can have some thoughts on including that as part of the resolution, asking the county to sign this properly. But so it seems like I'll ask council what your thoughts are on allowing them to haul from 7 a.m. Monday to Friday, and then have a revisit it next week on Wednesday at our council meeting to see if that arrangement is working for Kevin Mitchell. And because I'm concerned about the Saturday hauling until 8 p.m. at night. People are home a lot during COVID, and they're going to notice this. So if we can give that a little leniency and it works for both parties, I think that's beneficial. Councillor Spruce?
Yes, I'm okay with a 7 o'clock start. I'm not okay with extending it to 8 o'clock. I'm okay if they want to extend it to 6 o'clock because nothing really happens at the home until after 6. On weekends, I really don't like trucks on the weekends. I think it's invasion of people's quiet time, as you put it. So I agree with your suggestion that come back, see how the extension works. My only suggestion would be to allow 1 hour in the evening as well till 6 o'clock.
Okay. Counselor Bailey, just turn your video off before you start talking.
I'm just reading through the agenda here, and it does say that there already is hauling till 6 o'clock. So can we
Oh, that's
confirm
right.
that it's not 5, but it's actually 6? So we're looking at 11 hours now if we extend it.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, answering that the agreement does allow it to go from 8 a.m.
Whose phone's ringing? Whose phone's ringing?
It allows it to go from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. under the current agreement.
Okay, I'm hesitant to push past the 6 p.m. at this point. I would be open to it in another week when we have, another report from you, Mr. Mitchell. But Councillor Bailey, back to you.
No, so we're just deciding on the time right now?
Well, we're not deciding. We're not having a vote. We're just discussing. My proposal was to add an additional hour in the morning. I was under the belief it was until 5 p.m. as well, so they could haul from just to add an additional hour in the morning. And I'm not in favor of the Saturday hauling at this point until we have, a report from Mr. Mitchell saying, hey guys, we're not keeping up to our supply demand or our customers. We need to haul. Then we can revisit it in a week or week and a half at our next council meeting, 2 weeks. And then we'll have another conversation on whether we have to expand the hours of operation or hauling for them. So just comment on that.
Okay, and sorry, Mr. Mitchell, giving 1 more hour a day will allow
One more.
how many more trucks?
Probably 1 load per truck, or 1 and a little bit, but it would, so the number of trucks times about 35 tons. So if there's 10 trucks, that would get us 350 extra tons in an hour.
Okay,
It's a
yeah, no
starter.
more comment then.
Okay. Councillor Balmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I guess I understand that perhaps I can see how it could be perceived as a little too generous going to the second meeting in October, but I'm concerned that just going to our next council meeting for a possible extension is almost too short. If the construction is delayed again and getting started, they may not even have a full week of trucking to know if they've got anything. So, and I don't have a concern necessarily with Saturday hauling. Other pits do it. Other pits have Saturday crushing and operations, and this is a temporary measure. But to that end, I guess if we were going to go with the shortest date, I'd want to give them the broadest permissions. If we were going to go for the shortest revisit date, so we get a sense of what the full impact is, and they get a sense of what the full benefit is in that shortest period of time. And if you wanted to go longer before we revisited it, then I might be interested in saying, okay, maybe fewer hours. But I can't see a major difference in going from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. In the evening to help them through this. This is not a situation of their making, and so I'm trying to be as open as I can while protecting the residents that I can on routes that are not typical haul routes. So those would be my thoughts if those make sense to anybody.
They do, and I just want to clarify, when I recommended the next meeting, it wasn't to put an end date on the current extension of hours. It just would give the industry a closer time to come and plead their case and say, hey, this isn't working. But if it's working for them, I would assume we wouldn't hear from Mr. Mitchell. And that's why I referenced that. And I know Aberfoyle is a hamlet, but the Saturday haul route, people in Morriston are gonna not be very receptive of gravel trucks hauling through Morriston. And anyways, that's why,
as well.
Yeah, Monday to Friday is a little more tolerable because it already is a county road infrastructure, and we do have some trucks, but that left turn is challenging. So, Councillor Goyda?
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that the construction, this alternate route is going to add significant time and delays, and possibly not being able to get through on certain days is going to create a further backlog. I would be more open to allowing the hauling to take place through till 8 o'clock. I would be hesitant to agree to that for the rest of the hauling season.
Yeah.
But I would be open to that at least for, I mean, we could even say until the next council meeting, we could revisit that, but it at least gives some time to allow them to build some inventory. I still have to say I'm reluctant on the Saturdays. I think that the residents, you know, like you said, it's COVID, they're home. I think that quiet enjoyment on the Saturdays is an important part of, you know, why people live where they do. But I do think it's tolerable during the week more so, at least, you know, in the immediate short term to allow them to build some inventory, and hopefully that would be enough. And maybe 2.5 weeks from now or 2 weeks from now, they don't need those extended hours. But I don't know that 1 hour a day will really
gonna do
give
it.
them what they need.
Pardon, Councillor Bowman?
I agree, it's not enough. An extra hour a day isn't gonna do it for them. As Councillor, sorry, I should be quiet.
I thought you said it was ridiculous.
No,
Is that-
it's just not gonna do it. I'm sorry, I forget I'm on a microphone.
Mr. Mitchell, question for you. The additional hours through the week that you're asking for would just be 2, correct? From 6 till 8 p.m.?
That's correct. And again, you know, I really appreciate the conversation that we're able to have here back and forth. And I didn't point it out in my presentation, and I'm not sure I should answer it this way, or I'm allowed to, but we didn't ask to change the processing plant hours. We know that you've had issues out there from other operators and that sort of thing. So we didn't even consider asking to run our processing plant different hours. And we, you know, we didn't want to look at other haul routes either. Gilmore's the fastest route, but to us, that's the wrong route too. So we think it's a good solution. I can make it easier for you if it's easier to vote that to go with the proposal from Mayor Sealy to say, let's try the 7 a.m., see where we end up by the 16th. We're always happy and to let you know what's going on on the 16th and go from there.
Mr. Mitchell, I'm trying to get your 2 hours, and you know, initially I thought it was 3. I don't know. Maybe I'm not great at math. But if we go to 7, if we give you 7 a.m. start, which
Yes.
you know, and then we give you 1 hour extra on the end, because you know, we're running out of daylight now. We're getting into September. Families are enjoying those last few good temperatures and light out in the evenings. And I think if it's not as noticeable in the morning, you know, your trucks will be loaded and it'll take some time to be loaded, and they'll be gone, and nobody will know that they've snuck in an hour earlier. And then we can get you that hour in the evening, so you're getting your 2 hours just at different points of the day. I'd be comfortable with that. I don't, you know, 8 p.m. is a little late for me. I was just going to ask Councillor Spose what he thought, but he's leaving. So what are your thoughts on that, Mr. Mitchell? If we gave you 7 a.m. start and extended your evening, would that give you your 2 hours? And then I would like to see you come back and report to us on the 16th, or even just an email if you have an update on how long the closure is going to take, or how it's working.
I would propose this back, that we would, if council's supportive, that we would thankfully say thank you for allowing us to start at 7, and then we would stop at 6. But we can check in with you and see if the extra hour in the evening is needed, whether that's on the 16th or a notification through that. I respect what you're telling us and the concerns of the residents, and we would live with the extra hour in the morning. If you want to add the extra hour in the evening, we could do that too, or we could work it out that it would be on notification to you that 1 hour in the morning isn't doing enough. Could we add the extra hour in the afternoon? I'm happy either way, Mayor Sealy.
I'm comfortable with that. What are your thoughts, Councillor Spose?
I'm okay. I hear what Councillor Boomer and Councillor Goyette are saying. If we want to extend it from 7 to 7, I'm okay with that initially. It's easier than trying to sell going through Morriston on a Saturday.
Okay, Councillor, where are we, Bailey?
Oops. I am also okay if we are proposing a 7 to 7. I think that's a good compromise.
Okay, Councillor Bulmer.
Sure. if it works, we'll revisit it and expand it if needed and go from there.
Councillor Goida?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good compromise, so.
Okay. The other thing, I don't know if this should be part of this resolution, but maybe we could reach out to the MTO. This is such a short timeline, but if we could get the stop bar that people have to stop at to turn south on Highway 6, if they could move it back east, I don't know, a car length, because if a car stops at the stop bar and you have a gravel truck turning left, it's not just a gravel truck, any truck turning left, it poses some significant challenges. And I don't know if we can make it happen, but I'd appreciate if staff could reach out to the MTO and request that stop bar be temporarily moved back, figure out a distance just to facilitate that truck traffic turning. Is that possible? Nobody's gonna answer, that's fine. All right.
We could ask, but I can't guarantee how quickly the MTO would respond to something like that.
Yeah, I know. It's at least worth asking. All right, so I believe we have a resolution to be read, and Ms. White Fox, have you captured that?
I've included some of the items that Councillor Bulmer had recommended to do with the inspection of Victoria Road and the notification to the property owners on Wellington Road 36.
Okay.
So I can,
Yep, you can go ahead and read it.
okay. That the delegation from Kevin Mitchell, Director Property Planning and Approval, CRH Canada Group, Inc., with respect to Aberfoyle Pit 2 Township of Puslinch Agreement be received, and that due to the construction and road closures in Aberfoyle, Council agrees to temporarily exempt Section 12 of the Aberfoyle Pit 2 Township of Puslinch Agreement dated April 2nd, 1980, and permit truck traffic to travel on their return trips as follows: southerly on County Road 46 to County Road 36, and then easterly on County Road 36 to Victoria Road, and then northerly on Victoria Road to the entrance of Aberfoyle Pit number 1, and temporarily amend Section 3 of the agreement, hours of operation for hauling, to Monday to Friday between the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and that Kevin Mitchell, Director of Property Planning and Approval, CRH Canada Group, Inc., report back on the temporary hours of operation for hauling and temporary haul route at the September 16th, 2020 council meeting, and that CRH Canada Group, Inc. provide notice of the temporary haul routes and hours of operation for hauling to the property owners along Wellington Road 36, and that the Director of Public Works inspect Victoria Road prior to the use of the temporary haul route and produce a report of any damage sustained to the road once the haul routes return to normal.
Sounds good to me. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Spoulos, seconder. Councillor Bailey, discussion. Councillor Spoulos.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bailey.
No, sounds great.
Okay. Councillor Bulmer.
Good work, council. Yep, that's good.
Excellent. Councillor Goida.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. Kevin, that was great working with you on this one. You know, I've mentioned it to you in the past. Sometimes I'm a little harsh on the aggregate industry, but this council and myself realize that you are a corporate citizen of this township, and unfortunately the county, I think, missed some things, and I'm going to try to make sure that maybe this doesn't happen in the future and proper notices are given. I'll be bringing it up at the roads committee meeting for the county in September. Not to be critical, but just to make sure there's something in place to ensure that businesses are notified and we don't have to do this last minute adjustments. So we appreciate you working with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for considering it and working with us.
Okay, have a great day.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah. Oh, all in favor?
put the motion forward and vote on this.
Sorry, I forgot to call in favor. All in favor? Councillor Spoulos?
Favor?
Yeah. Councillor Bailey?
In favor?
Councillor Bulmer?
In favor.
Councillor Goida?
In favor.
And I'm in favor. That's carried. Now it's in place. All right. And now we're going to go move on. So we're on to the consent agenda. And Ms. White Fox, you want to read the resolution, and then we'll see if any members want to pull out parts of the consent agenda, please.
that the consent agenda items listed for the September 2nd, 2020 council meeting be received for information.
All right, can I get a mover for that?
I'll move.
Counselor Ballmer, seconder Counselor Bailey. Does any member want to pull portions of that out? The only one I may want to pull out is the town of Gore Bay. So that's 6.15. And I believe, let me pull it up here. Get back to where I am.
6.12,
Is it
6.11.
1.5? Is that the one where they want to be able to extend COVID relief to service groups in your municipality? I would like to support that. So it's Oshawa. So it's the town of Gore Bay supporting Oshawa's. So here I'll read. The town of Gore Bay is in support of the corporation of the city of Oshawa requesting support of the motion to request the federal, provincial, and regional government to help municipalities assist their local social cultural service clubs and children, youth, minors supporting organizations with clear and definitive relief funding programs. Please find the attached certified true copy. I just know that some of our organizations, one being the Aberfoyle Farmers Market, they have staff members and they're struggling, and the minor sports organizations in Pusslinch. It'd be nice to support this resolution, and hopefully we're able to either they create a funding stream, or we're able to use some of the COVID relief money that we've received to to assist these clubs in this difficult time. So 5, I don't know if I'm doing this right, Ms. White Fox. Should we talk about that after we pass the resolution, or I'm already halfway
So
through it?
procedurally, yeah, what you should do is receive all of them for information with the exception of 615.
Okay.
Pass the resolution and then pass the resolution about 615.
Okay, so Ms. White Fox, are you, did you just write that down that we're going to remove 615?
Yes, I've amended the resolution with the exception of item 6.15.
Perfect. So mover for that. Councillor Spoulis, seconded by Councillor Bailey. All in favor to receive those other ones? Councillor Spoulis,
Favor.
Councillor Bailey,
In favor?
Councillor Ballmer,
In favor?
Councillor Goya.
In favor.
I'm in favor. So that's carried for all of those items except for, so you heard the gist of it. I'm hoping to just provide support to, I guess it's the Corporation City of Oshawa for that request. If it doesn't float, that's fine, but just my 2 cents. Councillor Spoulis?
I'm in favor. If our minor league are suffering financially and there's some funding earmarked to help them out, that would be great.
Okay, Councillor Bailey?
Supporting.
Yep, thanks, Councillor Spoulis. Councillor Bailey?
Yeah, I'm all for supporting that as well. I think we have a lot of different organizations that maybe we haven't even heard from yet that are sort of suffering right now. So this might be something to help them down the road.
Okay, Councillor Ballmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I think we may see, as some of these organizations try to start up, that they're going to be facing some additional costs as well that may not have been, a burden to them in the past, but they may find them a burden in the future, and to be noticed again, especially some organizations that are shut down completely. Sad to think that some people may have forgotten about them, and they may need some help to make people remember that they're there when they start back up again. So if we can get a little help for them, that'd be great. Thank you for thinking of it.
No problem. And Councillor Goya?
Yeah, I would be in support of that as well.
Thanks. All right, Ms. White Fox, could you, sorry, maybe I should have given you a heads up, but can you come up with a quick resolution to whether just support the town of Oshawa?
Yes, would you like the support resolution sent out to all Ontario municipalities? Is there anyone else that it should go to?
Whoever the city of Oshawa whoever the city of Oshawa initially submitted it to at the government, I would suspect, I don't believe all the municipalities need to see our support of it.
Okay.
Councillor Spoulis, your thoughts on that?
I think we should also send our representative in the provincial
MPP?
government.
Yeah. So Ted Arnott, and then whomever the city of Oshawa sent this to. They sent it to Trudeau, Mr. Ford, Looks like. Anyways, you have the direction. We can hammer out those details.
Okay, so that consent agenda item 6.15, Town of Gore Bay COVID-19 funding support resolution be received, and that council direct staff to send support of the resolution.
That works for me. Okay, mover.
I'll move.
Councillor Ballmer, seconded by Councillor Spoulos. All in favor? Councillor Spoulos.
In favor?
Councillor Bailey.
In favor?
Councillor Ballmer.
In favor.
Councillor Goida.
In favor.
I'm in favor, so that's carried. Okay. All right. Delegations is done. Public meetings. We don't have any new ones, do we? Is this the minutes?
We have the 2021 proposed user fees and charges bylaw coming up on September 16th.
Agenda item. Let me get in the right spot here. Sorry, bear with me. You basically really. Oh, come on. There we go. I don't know why it's not opening. All right. So can you repeat that, Ms. Whitefox? That's the September 16th.
Yes.
Mine just says September 16th, 2020, public meeting held by electronic participation at 7 p.m. It doesn't, in my agenda package, it doesn't say what it's for.
So on the second page of the agenda, it will just note that the 2021 proposed user fees and charges bylaw is going for public information meeting on September 16th at 7 p.m. So that will be just after our normal council meeting.
There we go. Okay, thank you. My mistake. And we don't have a resolution for that. Nothing for Puslinch Fire and Rescue. Finance Department, I don't know. We have the OBS and MUG presentation. Are you able to bring them in, Ms. Whitefox?
Yes, I believe we have Matthew here from OBS and MUGs.
Perfect. I did see it there.
Good afternoon. Can
Matthew.
everybody hear me okay?
Ken.
Terrific. All right.
Right.
Great to be with you all. I just want to confirm, I should share my screen with the presentation, correct?
I believe so.
Okay, great.
All right.
Okay, I just want to confirm quickly that you can in fact see my screen that I'm sharing.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so is everyone good for me to jump into this?
I believe so.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to walk through. We've been working closely with the staff of the township to design, develop an evolved new municipal website for Puslinch, and we're going to walk through just the process that we've gone through, the engagement and the findings that we found, and then talk about some of the functionality that the new website will hold to help residents and businesses engage with the township in a modern and convenient way, and then give you a little demo of the website as well. So with that, I wanted us to start by speaking to the purpose and research of the project. So at the very beginning of it, we put together just a very simple purpose statement so that we can understand why this website's being developed. Right, and it was that the Township of Puslinch has engaged OBS and MUG Inc. to design and develop a new website so that they may better engage with existing residents, potential new residents, visitors, and businesses. So this website's really meant to be a way for the community and the township to engage with one another and just make communication easier and more modern. The process that we took for it is a fairly traditional web design and development process, starting with research. So we did work in understanding what the existing difficulties and successes of the current website are. So just understanding what's working, what's not working, and where things can be improved. We also did a full content audit of the website, including the architecture. So looked at all of the content, and there's a lot of it, all of the content the website holds and how it's organized throughout the website. We also then built out a robust functionality requirements document. So that essentially is the checklist of all the things that the website needs to do from a technology side, so that we can ensure that we're building everything appropriately. From there, we built a prototype to perform user testing that I'll speak to in a minute. And then we designed the user interface with the new Puss Lynch brand in place, so that the brand experience of the township is cohesive from print materials now through to the web experience that people will have. And then build and test website, that's the phase that we're currently in, and then launching, looking to happen on September 15th. So I'll just speak to a few of these things early on. In the research that we did, we discovered that the three primary purposes, and I don't think there'll be any surprises here, just as a heads up. The three primary purposes of the website are to find information on a particular topic, which could be one of many topics. Specifically find news updates. And then in terms of the most popular areas of the website, currently they're the government area and the for residents area, which are both really broad areas, but it's good for us to understand where people are trafficking within the website. In the initial engagement and the research that we did, the top functionality requests, so less so about the content specifically and more about just how the website works. The primary thing we heard most commonly was that we want to clean up the organization and the architecture of the website content. So essentially make things more intuitive. If you're looking for dog licenses, it shouldn't be a journey to discover information on them.
Yes, that's right.
This is more of a modern take, but and basically essential today, but the site should be responsive to both desktop and mobile devices, and also ensure that the content and the experience you have on a desktop device or on a mobile device or a tablet, the experience is as similar as possible. So if you're moving between devices, it doesn't feel like a new experience every time. Decrease time to load content. So that's in how we build and program the site to ensure fast load times. And then finally, just continuity with the township brand to ensure that when content's being communicated through the website, it's clear it's coming from the township, and there's no disconnect between other materials being provided by the township. The usability research that we did, just to give you some insight into what that looks like. So what you're seeing on the right here is a prototype website. So it's not this one isn't the final site that we've built, but it has everything in place to help us understand if the navigability of it is proper. And what you're seeing is a click map in this case here, where we essentially put out tasks with the new website. We say, I'll use the dog licenses example again. We'll say, go and find how to acquire a dog license. And then we have people go in who have never seen the site before and essentially navigate there. And we're able to identify which areas they clicked, what they searched for, the path they took, also that we can optimize the path that users are taking throughout the website. So it's essentially all the work done to ensure that the road you take to get somewhere is as straight and efficient as possible. Going into the features, so building out that feature list, there's a few areas that we want to highlight before we get into the demo of the website. So what you're seeing on the right here is actually the home page of the new site. What you'll see most prominently right below the township brand is a large search box. We've updated the search functionality now to essentially act as the primary navigation tool on the website. So as soon as you arrive here, whatever it is you're looking for, you can search for it, and then the search will basically pull up all of your options, your opportunities within the site to find it. And I'll demo that for you in a moment. The search is also throughout the website. So you'll see as well in the top right-hand corner, it's always available to you wherever you are on the website. When you land on the search results page, it's designed very intentionally to be as clean and accessible as possible so that you can see each of your results identified, the number. If you use Google, you'll understand how to use the search result. It's as traditional of an experience as possible. One detail that we've introduced here is you'll see right next to the search box, there is this drop-down menu with everything. What this means is right out of the gate, you're searching the entire website. You can click that and you can narrow down your search. If you're looking specifically within news posts and you want to find information, then it'll curate it just to that type of post. And I'll demo that again in a moment as well. The navigation, we think about navigation as basically any kind of navigation you use throughout the site. So what you'll see here is the navigation is basically set up so that there's multiple ways for you to intuitively find content, right? So traditionally, you'll use the top navigation and you'll find your pieces from there, or now you can use the search bar as well. But we've created essentially a layered navigation setup here. So from the very top, if you can find your initial category, so for residents, for example, that takes you to a second layer where you reveal a little bit more information for you. So you'll see on the left-hand side here, for residents then gets tailored down to 3 categories: emergency services, pets, utilities and services. And then you can expand any of those to find more specific content. So the goal is to really give you a funnel approach as to how you find content to make it as easy as possible, rather than showing you everything right off of your first click, which can be intimidating. And then when you're on the page you're on, we keep the navigation going. In the left-hand side here, you'll see as you've arrived on home and property, we tell you very clearly where you are. But then within that for residents area and then emergency services, you'll see there's also building and renovation and property taxes. Those 2 pages are also immediately available to you. So if you know you're looking for something within home and property, but you've clicked on the wrong one, you always have access to get to a nearby page that you might be looking for instead. Speaking to that mobile or desktop experience, like we said, the website is now fully responsive. So whether you're on the latest iPhone, or you're on a large desktop, or you're on a small desktop or a tablet, the website will essentially reform itself to fit the device that you're on. And all the functionality that you experience on one device is available on all the other devices as well. One sort of important, it's a minor functionality, but I think it's an exciting one for this website. Easy access to documents. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of content, and within all that content, there's a lot of documents. So we've worked really hard with the staff to try and create as many, we've translated as many of the PDF documents into web content wherever possible, but there's still going to be instances where the PDFs are necessary. And so what we've done is you'll find on the left-hand side of every page a section called Documents on this page. And so if you do find yourself on a web page that has a lot of text and a lot of content, and you're really just looking for the document hidden within all of that, it's called out on the left-hand side. So you have quick access to download that if that's really what you're here for. You don't need all the literature that's on the page as well. Likewise with forms, as everyone starts moving more and more virtual in how they submit forms or submit payments, we have a forms and payments section on the website that collects all the forms, and you'll see at the very top is a curated section of the most requested. Otherwise, they're listed alphabetically. So it's just an easy way to find, again, the content you're looking for as immediately as possible. As a tool itself, we've built in a couple of alert systems. So whether there is a critical notification, like a pandemic happens, you're able to put a more prominent notification on the page that you see in the bottom here that essentially is impossible to not see. You have to dismiss it until you get past it. We also have a soft notification feature, which you can see at the very top here. So if there's something that's new to the website that you want everyone to have visibility on, but you don't want it to be a screaming announcement, then there's an opportunity to do a soft announcement at the top of the website. And you can just redirect people. So for example, Shop Local Puss Lynch is now live. It's just a soft, gentle way to get people to go there if they're inclined to do so. Okay, so with that, I'll just pull up the actual website. And just to confirm, you did, that did switch for you?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So here we are looking at the built-out website. I'll just go over a couple of the homepage features very quickly. Like I mentioned, the search bar is the immediate and most used tool. There's that soft notification on the very top. And then the navigation just has clean drop downs and simple approach. We've retained a what's called a hero carousel on the homepage. So there's the ability to click through the latest news and information here. Right beside that, immediately we have council calendar updates, where you can see both a link to the previous council meetings page and the upcoming one as well, or you can go to the entire council calendar. So it's very quick. And then just below that, quick access to the more popular pages that we've seen. And all of this can be easily customized by staff when it needs to be updated to ensure that the right content's being displayed. We're also pulling the latest news, media releases, and public notices right to the homepage. So if there is a new release that's put out, it's found right away. And likewise, just expanding on the council calendar, because we did find that to be one of the more popular pages. More quick links into those as well. One last note on navigation. At the bottom of the homepage, there is just an expanded sitemap. So if you do come down here, you can see all of the sections on the website and have immediate access to them in an expanded view. So I'll just walk through just one experience of how this works. Now, because I used it earlier, I'll use dog licenses as a tool. So if I was just to search dog license here, and I go to the search page, it pulls up all of the pages that in some form have dog license on them. So you'll see right away, I can click on dog license application, and that brings me right to the form, which I can fill out and use. Or if it's more appropriate for myself, I can download the PDF version of it, which is called out on the side here. Alternatively, if I'm just looking for information on it, it shows me the pets page, because this also calls out the dog license. And you can see on the left-hand side here, the dog license bylaw is set up as a PDF. And so it is available to download immediately just right there. Going back to the navigation to show you that funnel approach, if I was looking for the recreation and leisure calendar, say, I would click on culture and recreation potentially. And then here it shows me all the different categories that would be within culture and recreation, right? So under community facilities, it tells me there's 11 different topics. And so now I can just browse and click on learn about baseball diamonds, the basketball court, whichever facilities I'm looking for. If I'm looking, excuse me, if I'm looking specifically for community groups or the newsletter or the festival events, everything is laid out just as essentially as cards for me to see them. But looking for the recreation and leisure calendar, I can select that. And so this is pulling this page is using essentially the same calendar functionality of the current website, but we've just cleaned up the presentation of it. So now you can come here, and if you're looking to see what the availability might be for the Aberfoyle ball diamond, I can select that, and it just shows me isolated what times are booked, which times are not booked. And if I would like to book a date, then I can contact a township representative, which takes me directly to the contact page. One last piece here. Well, actually, I'll just show you just very quickly, sorry, the general approach to most pages. Oops, that's an external page. So if I go back into any of these here, now go to fire and rescue. So all pages are set up with this narrow column in the center for ease of legibility and accessibility. Whenever there's an opportunity to call out who should be contacted for a specific topic, it's highlighted on the left-hand side, right above those documents that are also potentially found within all of the content. So as you move from page to page, the experience is similar, so you know where to look for what you're looking for. So just lastly, because it's such a popular page, I'll just show you the council calendar and how that's set up. When you arrive on the council calendar, you're presented with the month that you're in, so it doesn't overwhelm you with multiple dates far in the future. Immediately, you'll see a list of all the upcoming events. So right now, today, there's a council meeting in place. You can see a small calendar view on the right-hand side that highlights the dates which do have some content. And you'll see if I click on, for example, September 16th, there's 2 events happening on September 16th. I'm also able, if I prefer, to view all of this in a calendar mode, if that's more appropriate to me. And you can also filter by the different kinds of events that are available within the calendar. And then, sorry, and the last piece to that is, like you currently can, you can also subscribe to any of the areas that you can currently subscribe to. So when there's an update to an event, or when there's a new news post posted, you can receive an email notification for that as well. And that's essentially it. So I'm happy to show any other areas of the website that you're interested in, but I think that covers the sort of the overall approach and design that we've taken.
Nice work. Thank you, Matthew. Councillor Sapoulis.
This is a very slick website. I'm looking forward to using it. When do you anticipate it being live?
So right now, the date is September 15th.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. No, I really like it. It's really impressive. I'm glad we got you on board.
Yeah. Councillor Bailey? Oh, Councillor Bailey? Shut your video off. I like to hear you.
There. Who gets to do the testing?
So it's been in testing for a number of weeks now. One thing, so when the website launches, there's always a beta phase, which means that we're anticipating and expecting there to be some discoveries. We don't like to say bugs, but there can be some discoveries here or there that might need some attending. So for that, there is a feedback form on the site that visitors can use and submit anything that they identify. But it's currently in a very robust testing phase with staff to ensure everything is in the right place and is working across different devices.
Wonderful. I do have a question. This might not be for you, but you might know. If someone needs to click on something and it needs to be read to them, is that something we can factor into it, or is that something that needs to be added specifically, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the site is built to meet all, actually exceed slightly some the accessibility requirements put in place in Canada. So things like screen readers, they'll be able to read and pick up the website as it should be. It was built very intentionally with accessibility at the front of the line, being a municipal website. So whether you're using a screen reader or you're using other instances of accessibility, are there people who can't use mice, for example, and need to use only the keyboard to navigate? The different accessibility requirements are in place for this site. And it's actually why, just as a note, when you're experiencing the site, there are certain things that might feel a little uncommon to other websites that you use more commonly. Like, for example, external websites don't open in a new tab or a new window. That's an accessibility thing. If you're on a phone and you open a new website and you go into a new tab, then you've essentially lost the other website. So all those accessibility details are built in to ensure that when the requirements come in place, they're slated to come in place by law in 2021, the site will meet and exceed those. And just one last note on that, there's also tools in place to ensure that as content gets added, the staff has some guidance within the system itself in ensuring that it's consistently accessible as well. So if they were to add an image to the website, for example, that doesn't have a descriptive alt tag, the system will tell them before they publish it that there's an image on the site that doesn't have an alt tag, for example.
Wonderful. And I just have one other question. We've recently sort of taken on a new, I can't talk, a new link, cloud permit. And I'm just wondering, once we go into sort of that building and renovation tab that you had shown, is there a way for us to be linking right into the building permit?
So I can tell you that I know we're working with Cloud Permit right now to see what sort of integrations are possible. The site as a sort of as a framework, the site is built really to, there's a lot of integrations in the site already. Like, for example, that recreation calendar is pulling an integration for another piece of software. There's a few other throughout the site. So we're working with, sorry, I forget the name, Cloud Permit to see what integrations are possible.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Bulmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your presentation. I'm so glad you fixed the search function. I got to say that was probably the biggest complaint I got from people, is they would go and search something they knew was on the website, and it wouldn't give them anything. So that in itself, if it works as you've described, that's going to be a real blessing of this update. And I really appreciate, if I understand your description of the new navigation structure, the old site, one of the most frustrating things, the old site for users, including myself, and I know what was supposed to be there and where it should be, was that every street, it was sort of, everything was a dead end street. Once you went down a certain path, you could only go down that path. And the way you've described it, it sounds like once you go down a path, there are ladders or chutes off to other associated, or in case you've said the wrong thing and you meant this, you can get there. You don't have to go all the way back up or back out of where you are to find what you're looking for. Is that how I can understand it? Is it has some lateral navigation as well as vertical?
Yes, essentially, yeah. So we like to think of it as a funnel. So if you start on the homepage, which has, doorways to everything, essentially. Yeah. There's certain, you choose a doorway, and then it takes you into another room that will help you find the right room that you're supposed to get to. And then once you're in that room or on that page, depending where it is, so if you're in one section, home and property, for example, you're able to move to another home and property page easily because it's displayed for you right there. Likewise, if it's a document in that area that you're looking for, those are called out for you. And as a last resort, the search functionality is always accessible on every page. So you can click that, search opens up, and you can look for you can search for what you're looking for. But it's not a linear approach where you're basically forced down one pathway the entire time to that dead end that you're talking.
Yep, that's great. And another piece I got some questions about was there were some of the content that was on the other website included, I don't want to say ads, but there were some businesses listed but not all, or there appeared to be some ads for some local attractions or local businesses. Have you addressed that piece in the content part?
Right. So in the content audit, we noted that, and we looked for instances where one organization might be listed when in fact it's probably likely that there's multiple other organizations that could be. Right. So there's no private businesses listed on this site now. Okay. I think they're only township organizations
or not-for-profits. We used to list the local not-for-profits as a listing, not as advertising, just as an information service.
Yeah. So that was handled in the content piece with staff.
Super. I'm going to pick up. Thank you, Councillor Bailey, for mentioning the accessibility. One of the pieces that I found myself personally frustrating as a person who uses a screen reader was the previous site had a link that says click to main content, and it would take me to the top of the list of 57 links or something, which to me is not the main content. I trust that's a typical tool to have on a page, click to main content to help people with screen readers find the content on that page. I trust you won't be taking it to that site map at the bottom, but rather it'll go to the main heading on the page.
That's right.
Expect to read.
That's right. So the way the page structure is set up is we've identified what the true beginning of the content would be.
Excellent.
Which is also essential for search engines to use as well, right? To identify what's the actual page all about. So it's set up to do that.
Well, I can tell you, I'm looking forward to testing it in the real world of accessibility with a variety of browsers and screen readers, just to see how it reacts differently. Do you know which did you do any live testing with different browsers and combinations of screen readers?
Yeah, so we do testing with all what we call modern browsers. So essentially, outside of the the niche developer world browsers.
Yes.
So we're testing them in all of them, and also
Great.
basically building it to suit. What's nice about how we move forward is all the browsers really are upping their focus on accessibility as well. So certain browsers will have screen reading capabilities that are less efficient than others. So as long as, what we like to say is as long as you're on a browser from after 1998, then you'll be okay. Yeah.
Super. Well, I'm looking forward to my first test run. Thank you very much.
Great.
Okay, Councillor Goida.
Thank you, and thanks for your presentation. I think that the website looks fantastic. It looks very intuitive, and I have to echo what Councillor Balmer said about the search function. I think that was probably, for me, the biggest frustration of the old site. So I'm really happy to see that that is front and center and has been fixed all up, as well as the compatibility with the mobile devices, because I think more and more that's what people are using almost exclusively. So that's fantastic. There was some pictures, some photography on there that looked really good to me too. My question was from the sort of the back end for staff. Is it fairly straightforward for staff to continuously add and modify the information? And, is there training and support for them so that this isn't really a labor intensive thing to keep updating all the time? How does that go on the back end?
Yeah, so that was one of the main sort of early requirements of the website, was to try and ease the workload of the team that has to make the updates. And so it's built on a CMS, on a content management system, to ensure that staff have ease of updates, especially wherever it might be. So for example, they have the ability to create brand new pages very quickly and easily. Updating existing pages also is really just, we always say it's essentially like writing an email. Like everything is set up in a way where it's fairly intuitive to update. Anywhere where there's any sort of complexity, we've been working with them closely on training, and have developed a full guide or manual as well that can be used as an ongoing tool. I don't want to speak for them, but they have mentioned that it is infinitely easier than previous experiences. So I hope it continues to be.
Okay, that's really great to hear. And also, a little while back, we had a presentation about an engagement, and I can't for the life of me remember the name, but it was like I think it was like another site to allow for public engagement. So does that sort of tie into this? Will this tie into this when that's up and running, or is that a sort of entirely different process?
It will be linked to this as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's an external website that would link.
Okay.
Link from here.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for all the hard work.
Perfect. Yeah, it looks great. I'm looking forward to this working. I know I would go back and look for council meeting videos, and I found even the search function on that portion of the website frustrating, but I don't want to take away from the work that the individuals that maintained our website previous to this were doing. Just like everything else in our world, it's sometimes you need a reboot, a refresh, and with the new branding, it looks fantastic, and I believe the constituents will enjoy this experience. So thank you very much. One question I would have is if we have any recommendations for content on the page, should it be now or just directed to staff?
I would direct that from content. I would direct that to staff.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so if anybody has any additional feedback, and we can contact staff. So thank you very much.
Terrific.
Anything further? All right. So we have a resolution for that one, or is it just a?
Yes, I do, Mayor.
Okay. You mind reading that, please?
That the Puss Lunch website presentation by Matthew Abbey, Creative Director, Obs and Mugs, Inc., be received for information.
Thank you. Can I get a mover for that? I need you to, Matthew, can you not share your screen for a sec? Beauty. Okay. I got a mover for that. I saw a hand go somewhere.
I will.
Councillor Goida, seconder Councillor Spoulos. All in favor, Councillor Spoulos,
In favor?
Councillor Bailey,
In favor?
Councillor Balmer,
In favor.
Councillor Goida,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. That's carried. Thank you. Great work.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
You too.
What's left of it. All right, so next up on the agenda is the Finance 2020-035 second quarter financial report. Council's aware that our Director of Finance is indisposed today. If you have, so I'll have coordinate, well, no, we'll go questions. So does anybody have any questions the CAO can take note of and pass them along to our director when she's healthy? Any Councillor Spoulos?
I just have a comment. This is the second quarter results, and we're going to be working on our budget for 2021 very soon. And it's imperative that we understand what the hit is going to be for this year before we start striking our 2021 budget. It's so far, you look at the numbers, you say, yeah, it's not too bad. But we know that this third quarter is going to be the real bad hit for us.
Yeah, we need a staff are just overwhelmed, I believe, but I'm sure Mary will work as hard and staff will work as hard as they can to get that information to us as soon as possible. Any
Yeah, we're working on it already. We will get it out to council as soon as we can.
Thank you.
Councillor Bailey? Councillor Balmer?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Goina?
No questions.
Awesome. Okay, can I get Ms. White Fox to read the resolution, please?
That report FIN 2020-035 regarding the second quarter financial report 2020 be received for information.
I'm going to move her for that, please. Councillor Spoulos, seconder. Councillor Balmer?
I'll move. Yeah, second or whatever.
Second, thank you. All in favor? Councillor Spoulos?
In favor?
Okay, Councillor Bailey?
In favor?
Councillor Balmer?
In favor.
Councillor Goida?
In favor.
I'm in favor. That's carried. Next, we have our ADM VIND procedural bylaw update. And so I'll open that up. Well, yeah, open it up for questions. Councillor Spoulos?
With the revised changes, I'm satisfied with the way it's written. I'm okay. It's good to get on with it and update it and allow delegations and by electronic means for the public.
Excellent. Councillor Bailey?
Yep, I'm good with everything that I've seen. I think if we've had the good feedback, then it makes sense to move on with this. And if we can get, better accessibility, it might encourage more participation. So that would be great too.
Okay. Councillor Balmer?
All good.
Councillor Goida?
I'm good too.
Yeah, I'm happy with the revisions, so that's good work. Ms. White Fox, you want to read that resolution, please?
That report ADM 2020-033 regarding procedural bylaw amendments be received for information, and that council amend bylaw 59-08 as described in report ADM 2020-033.
Perfect. Mover for that, please. Councillor Spoulos, seconder. Councillor Goida?
Sure.
All in favor? Councillor Spoulos?
In favor?
Councillor Bailey?
In favor?
Councillor Balmer?
Favor.
Councillor Goida?
In favor.
And I'm in favor. That's carried. All right, we have a report for Part Lot 10, Concession 4. Any questions or comments on that one? Councillor Balmer, anything? No?
Oh, this is the Martinello pit.
Correct.
So how do you know you're old or getting old?
Because you know it was a pit?
Yeah, I remember this. I can remember approving the Martinello pit. So
Oh, no.
yeah.
So I work with Mr. Martinello, the son, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments on that one? No. Resolution, Ms. White Fox, please.
Yes, sorry, just bear with me one moment.
No problem.
That report PD 2020-005 regarding the release of an agreement registered over Part Lot 10, Concession 4 be received, and that council authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the acknowledgement and direction to enable the registration of the release.
Excellent. Need that mover, please. Councillor Splulis, seconder. Councillor Bailey, all in favor. Councillor Splulis,
Favor.
Councillor Bailey,
In favor?
Councillor Ballmer,
In favor.
Councillor Goida.
In favor.
I'm in favor. That's carried. Okay. This is the part of the council agenda I've been looking most forward to. Mr. Fowler, I guess we have a report for a pre-budget approval. Mr. Fowler, did you? Oh,
There's the addition item.
oh, shoot. See, that's what happens when I go by my computer instead of the most recent one. Is that the County Wellington 9442?
942, correct.
Okay. So is there a resolution for that? Or
Yes, there is.
okay.
That the planning report by the County of Wellington Planning and Development Department be received, and that council pass a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 023/18 on the subject lands as outlined in the report dated August 31st, 2020.
Perfect. Can I get a mover for that? And we'll have discussion if there's any.
I'll move.
Councillor Splulis, seconded by Councillor Ballmer. Any
Sure.
discussion on it before we vote? No? Okay. All in favor? Councillor Splulis,
In favor.
Councillor Bailey,
Yep, in favor.
Councillor Ballmer,
In favor.
Councillor Goida,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. That's carried. I'm gonna just mark this other one. Okay. Now we're on to hear from Mr. Fowler, I believe. Now, Mr. Fowler, did you want to give a quick Coles Note version of what we've already read, or just take questions?
I think the report basically sums it up. I'm happy to take questions from council as they please.
Okay, sounds good. So we have a pre-budget approval to purchase a roll-off snow plow equipment garbage bin for our Public Works Department.
Should
Sorry.
we receive the Moyers Bridge one for information first?
Oh, gosh. How did I miss that one? Thank you. Sorry. Can you read that resolution? Sorry. This is the trouble of going from computer paper. So Ms. Whiteflash, you want to read the resolution, please, from Moyers Bridge?
That report PW 2020-008 regarding the Moyers Bridge tender award be received for information.
Perfect. Mover for that one. Then we'll, Councillor Splulis, Councillor Bailey, seconder. Any discussion about that with Mr. Fowler while we have him available? That would maybe ask. So I believe construction started, Mr. Fowler?
Yes, it did. It started on Monday of last week. It's currently in the demolition phase where pretty much the entire bridge is now gone. The contractor is currently chipping away at the abutments in preparation for repouring. And from the last time I was informed, we are a couple days ahead of schedule. So things are going well.
Excellent.
And I'm quite upbeat and confident that this project's moving quite nicely.
And what's the projected completion date to get concession 7 open again?
Projected completion date, weather permitting, will be the end of October, October 30th to be exact, give or take a couple days.
Okay, that's good news. All right, anybody have any questions or comments for him? No, so we have a mover for that. Did I do that? Councillor Splulis, seconder. Let's do Councillor Goida.
Sure.
Okay, all in favor? Councillor Splulis,
Favor.
Councillor Bailey,
In favor?
Councillor Ballmer,
In favor.
Councillor Goida,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. So that's carried. Now, if I haven't goofed this up, are we at the pre-budget approval for this dump truck or not?
Yes.
I apologize. Whatever. One day I'll get a council meeting perfect. Maybe my last one. All right. So we have this pre-budget approval. It's pretty straightforward. It's budgeted for 21. Wanting to buy it now because it's ready to roll instead of waiting 17 or 18 months once you order it. So I'll open up to council. Councilor Splulis, do you have any questions?
No, I have my questions answered by staff, so I'm good.
Okay. Councilor Bailey?
No, I think I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Ballmer?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions about the roll-off part. Not that I'm opposed to it, but maybe Mr. Fowler could explain the benefits of having one, and is it universal? Could we then also use other roll-off bins, or is it just only works with the one it comes with?
It is a universal system. So basically, whether it be a flat deck attachment, a dump box, refuge bin, or a salt sander combination, any manufacturer, any type of equipment will fit this roll-off unit.
Oh, okay. So if it comes with one roll-off dump box, but does it come with one roll-off bin?
Basically, what I will be requesting is it will come with one salter sander unit and
Yeah.
one refuse bin / dump bin. So
Right.
it's kind of a 3-in-1 option where it can be used as a dump box. It can be placed on the ground and used as a refuse bin. It can be placed into parks, put on the ground to enable workers to wheelbarrow, whether it be mulch, topsoil, that type of thing. I feel it'll be a benefit come the community cleanup time, where instead of having a central location for garbage to be dropped off at the shop, we could place it out at a location on the outskirts of the township, whether it be the Badna soccer field, something like that, that could be picked up at the end of the day. Just cuts down on driving and travel time for the volunteers.
Interesting. That's an interesting look at how the community could benefit from it at large as well. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Goyda?
I would just like to say our Director of Public Works must have some really good connections, because I think this is the second demo truck he's been able to secure for us what would otherwise be 18 months to 2 years wait. So thank you very much for all your hard work in locating this one that we should have very shortly, and another one on the way. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, I want to echo those. Mr. Fowler works very hard at, securing equipment and finding the best bang for our constituents' dollar. And I want to thank council for supporting his recommendations, as staff are the experts in these departments. And it's working well. So congratulations, you're getting another dump truck. Any further questions? No. All right. So there's a resolution for that one, Ms. White Fox.
Yes. That report PW 2020-009 regarding the request for pre-budget approval for the tandem roll-off snowplow be received, and that council authorized the pre-budget approval of $360,000 funded as $330,000 from the asset management discretionary reserve and $30,000 resale value for the tandem roll-off snowplow in order for the fabrication of necessary components to begin prior to the 2020-2021 winter season, and that council authorized the pre-budget approval of $330,000 funded as $300,000 from the asset management discretionary reserve and $30,000 resale value for the tandem snowplow in order for the fabrication of necessary components to begin prior to the 2020-2021 winter season.
Okay, can you move it for that, please? Councillor Spoulos, seconded by Councillor Goyda. All in favor? Councillor Spoulos.
In favor?
Councillor Bailey. Councillor Bailey. Oh, did I lose her?
In favor?
Oh, yeah. Councillor Bulmer.
In favor.
Councillor Goyda.
In favor.
And I'm in favor. That's passed. All right. So now on to correspondence. This is one resolution for all of these correspondence, Ms. White Fox.
We have two separate resolutions.
Okay. You want to read the first one, please?
That Dufferin Aggregates Mill Creek Pit 2019 Ecology Monitoring Report and Review prepared by GWS Ecological and Forestry Services, Inc., license number 5738 be received for information.
Okay. Any questions or comments on that one? No? Councillor Bulmer, anything?
On Dufferin?
Yeah. Councillor Spoulos?
Yeah, our consultant reviewed the ecological takings, and he had some recommendations which were followed by Dufferin Aggregates, and I'm satisfied that it's working.
Okay. Any further? Okay. So I need a mover for that, please. Councillor Spoulos, seconded by Councillor Bailey.
Sure.
All right. All in favor? Councillor Spoulos.
In favor?
Counselor Bailey,
In favor?
Counselor Ballmer,
In favor?
Counselor Goida,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. We received a couple reports recently from Dufferin on rehabilitation and this report here for prepping for extraction, and they do some good work. I was reading up on that snake, I can't even pronounce it, where they hibernate. And it's nice to see the work that they're doing. So can you read the next resolution, Ms. Whitefox?
Yes, that the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks proposal to extend the current moratorium on water bottling permits be received, and that council support to extend the current moratorium on new or increased permits to take groundwater to produce bottled water for up to 6 months to April 1st, 2021, and that the motion of support be posted to the Environmental Registry of Ontario and forwarded to the Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks.
All right, I'll get a mover for that first and seconder, and we'll talk about it. Mover, Councillor Swillis, second, Councillor Goida. Anybody? Goida?
Sure.
Second it? Okay. Conversation on that one? Councillor Swillis, anything?
Yes, I suggested the motion. It makes sense that they're extending the review period for the document that we commented on several council meetings ago. Makes sense that two go hand in hand.
Okay. Councillor Bailey?
No, it sounds like they need, could use a little more time to take all the feedback. So, yeah, support that.
Okay. Councillor Ballmer?
Yeah, I'm torn on this. I concur with what I've heard from Councillor Spoulis and Councillor Bailey in terms of the stated purpose is to use the time to review the comments they've heard. But I do still struggle with the initial reason for the moratorium, or the rationale for the moratorium in the first place, was based on the belief that carbonating the water or adding sugar to the water somehow changes the impact of the natural environment, and therefore one form of beverage bottling needs to be treated differently than other forms of beverage bottling, which could have equal or greater impacts. I also struggle with the idea that that they want more time to about bringing in this willing host piece, and whereas we have a land use planning process to deal with being a willing host of a land use. So perhaps, I guess if I were to rationalize supporting it, it would be to give us more time to help the ministry understand that singling out one type of land use from a suite of land uses for special treatment really doesn't fly in the municipal world, where we already have a process to deal with land uses and whether a municipality is a willing host. So I wouldn't be opposed to it in terms of the purpose to get a better understanding, but I still have significant reservations as to the scientific merit of the moratorium in the first place, since no one's ever presented any scientific data to suggest that the natural environment can tell or react different to what you're doing with the water when you bottle it. So, you know, so I guess I could support it.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
Councillor Goida?
Yeah, I don't really have an issue with the time of, like, the extension of the time, but I agree with Councillor Ballmer that we do need to continue to advocate for the regulations to be applied to all water takers, not just water bottling companies, because there could be significant impact from other uses, as Councillor Ballmer said as well. So I don't disagree with the time, but I think that we can't look away from that other issue as well.
Yeah, I also had some reservations about this because it doesn't actually reference renewals. It's saying new or expanded. So if Nestle Waters permit is not asking for an expansion, should it not be approved then? So I can support it if it's for new and expanded ones, a moratorium, give them more time, but existing water taking permits across all industries in Plessis that the science has proven are sustainable, and we're not looking at whether it's getting carbonated or sugar put in it, then I don't necessarily support the resolution, but it doesn't speak to that. So I don't know, Mr. Schwender, did you end up getting a response from your contacts on whether that was inclusive of existing permits that are not asking for expansion?
Yes, I discussed it with our source water protection coordinator and asked him what the background is compared to new permits and existing permits and that. And he did confirm that the moratorium is only for new permits or for expanding permits. Existing permits that are simply renewing are not negatively impacted by the moratorium.
Okay, so this should not affect our corporate citizens that have water taking permits. They're just up for renewal.
As long as they're not asking for anything in addition to what they have now, that's correct.
But this, if I could, Mr. Chair, this is contrary then to what we've seen here. That this is when the moratorium came in. It did apply to Nestle's. They've had a piece on the books since long before the moratorium came in to renew their existing permit for the existing amount, and have been stonewalled by the province.
So I don't know if they backed off, Councillor Ballmer, or if it was just an oversight. I mean, we're having some staff level members, and this is not being critical, interpret what an email that was sent, but I don't know. Maybe sorry, go ahead.
I'm not disagreeing with what staff has found out from the
source water,
from source water protection. It's just that I think you've identified something that needs to be, well, maybe it's not our business to worry about either. That's Nestle's worry.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, I can support a moratorium on new or expanded water taking permits. I can support that, but if it were to encompass existing water taking permits, I'm not just talking about Nestle. There's other major corporations. Brokanon has a water taking permit. And, yeah, so as long as it's not a moratorium on theirs, and that's the recommendation from staff, is that this shouldn't encompass them. I'm comfortable supporting the resolution as it's written, with that caveat that that's why I'm supporting it. So if that makes sense. So any further?
I guess I just had a question. Just piggybacking on this, have staff been contacted by any of the corporations in the township about this extension?
I have not, no.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe I'll email our MPP and just ask for clarification. That's easily done on my part, and see if we get something back, and I'll provide it to council if I get something. Everybody's comfortable with that. Yeah. Okay, so we have that resolution read. We need a mover for that. Is there any further questions or comments before I call vote on it? No. Okay, any mover for it? Councillor Spillis, seconder. Councillor Bailey, all in favor. Councillor Spillis.
In favor. Councillor
Bailey.
Yep, in favor.
Councillor Ballmer.
In favor.
Councillor Goyda.
In favor.
And I'm in favor, so that's carried. Okay, so if I'm in the right spot, I believe we're in council reports. We had our AMO virtual conference, and we met with MECP. It went well. It was a short meeting. It was really just to let them know that we're supporting our CAs. They work well in our jurisdiction, and that we don't have the resources to, for them to essentially download part of their operations onto us. I don't know if there's anybody from the county watching, but my thing was, I said, if you're gonna download it, put it on the upper tier municipalities. They have more resources and able to absorb that versus the single tier. It went well. PA Kajin bounced a couple ideas off of us about, is it possible to have staff at these properties that are accessible to the public to collect fees, to generate revenue? And my opinion was no. They're so remote and scattered throughout our municipality and throughout the county that you can maybe put an honor box there, but I don't think you're really gonna, some people will pay, some will not. But so that was the basis of that conversation. And then MNRF I sent an email out just letting you guys know thought it didn't go great. I took an approach that I felt wasn't resonating with the minister. The positive thing coming out of that is, the minister is truly supportive of below the water table extraction. Wherever aggregate is, it's priority to the Crown. Got to protect it. That's priority. It trumps everything. So, and one of his comments was that I haven't seen any report that it causes any damage. And so now I just need to go back and regroup and, try to show him some impacts. And that's one of the comments I made. I said, well, it depends on what your gauge of damage is. The tax assessment loss, the loss of employment lands, which are farmlands. These are all things that are damaged. So these are the messages we'll have to work towards the next time we have his audience. Another positive that came out of the meeting was he committed to meeting with TAPMO without any other agencies present, which is great. Excuse you, Councillor Bowman.
Excuse me. Sorry.
That's okay. Was it a toot or was it a burp?
No,
I'm just kidding. Don't answer. So that was good. I was just critical of myself just because it didn't go as well. The last one we had in with everybody present, I thought they all went very well. This one just wasn't up to that standard, but we're learning from it. New angle to approach. I know where he stands. 100%. I know where he stands, so I can just work the angles that we can work. And then Glenn did the presentation, which he did a fantastic job for Ministry of Energy surrounding the natural gas expansion. So I'd like to let him just discuss what he spoke of, give a synopsis, because it went very well. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So basically, I just highlighted the importance with the Assistant Minister of allowing temporary capital surcharges to help fund the expansion of natural gas service projects. And basically all that is a regulatory tool that they would allow utility companies to use to help recognize the higher capital costs associated with installing some services in more isolated and rural areas. There's a higher capital cost. You have to put in more pipe to go serve the same number of people as compared to a city. So logically, you need a little bit more time to pay that back with the same economics. So just outline the benefit for it, that it wasn't an ask for money, just a simple regulatory change that's permitted elsewhere. And he seemed quite interested in that, asked for a couple of examples where it was approved, because up to this point they've approved a few, but it's always been on a one-off basis. So this is to allow kind of across the board for rural communities. Seemed quite interested and supportive of it, asked for some more information, which was provided to him, and he was going to take that further and try and support that from with inside the government as well. So he seemed pretty positive with it.
So just to top that off, when Glenn finished his presentation, the minister was so impressed that Glenn came without his hand out for a check and with some ideas to help, wouldn't just help Whistler, it would help, any rural community looking to expand natural gas. And he was very receptive of it and appreciative of the outside of the box thinking and bringing a solution to the problem versus just asking for cash. So, it's unfortunate with the virtual AMO conference, you weren't able to witness Glenn's presentation, but he knocked it out of the park. So I'll open up to if anybody wants to question or Glenn on that, or myself. No. The only other one we did was TAPMO, the joint TAPMO delegation to the Minister of Finance Parliamentary Assistant Stan Cho. It was relatively routine because Mr. Cho had been briefed prior to the meeting. He knew our angle, and our objective was to try to get him to speak, but we weren't successful in that manner. But he was receptive of our cause, and he said that it's going to impact the review is back underway, and we're optimistic that the government will address this aggregate assessment methodology to make it a more balanced approach where they pay their fair share. So it went well. It went well. So TAPMO and Wellington County are still working hard on trying to advocate for this new methodology, and I'll keep you up to date as it progresses. So, anything further? So does any council member have any council reports from the community or updates?
I have one.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Councilor Bummer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was approached recently by a resident who works closely with public health, the federal level public health agencies. And they've been working with a doctor in Guelph and an epidemiologist in Guelph to look at how the private sector, how the businesses are managing to apply, incorporate, utilize the recommendations as they come out from the province or the federal government regarding back to work protocols regarding COVID-19. Because the federal government is concerned about the fact that some of these protocols maybe not be clearly understood by the employers. And so they did, in cooperation with one of the largest employers in Guelph, they were able to study what was going on inside one of the plants, and were concerned that there's a potential for, if it got into there, that it would spread exponentially. So that employer is very keen on implementing any recommendations they might have. And so what they've done is they've scheduled a workshop for this Friday that I've been invited to, just to bring the interest of the municipality and our local businesses to hear what the possibility is. They've been asked to develop a pilot project for the Wellington County and this health unit area. So in preparation for that meeting, I'd be interested in hearing from any members of council that have had any experience or any questions with local businesses and the challenges that they're facing, so that I can feed it into this workshop or work group to see, because I'm not sure where this is going and they're not sure either, but they're looking to understand what's out there. So if local businesses are looking to get whatever this program is in place, they know who the businesses are. So any information you can provide me in terms of things you've experienced. I certainly have experienced significant differences. I've gone from plant to plant in the province recently. You walk into different places and everybody's protocols are different. So I can see why there's some confusion, but even here on the farm, I wasn't clear when we got the protocols out and the best practices. It was unclear exactly what that meant. So I understand why there's a need, and I'm kind of looking forward to being part of, if this pilot project takes off, if the federal government goes with it. It'd be nice to be part of it here in Wellington County. So I'll keep you posted, but I'm looking for any feedback you might have or questions you might have that I can feed into the process on Friday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Bowman. Anything else? Councilor Bailey?
Stop my video. Actually, the timing was perfect. Right before our meeting started, I got a confirmation email from Christine at Safe Communities, Wellington County. Starting on September 3rd, they're kicking off a campaign called What is 10 Minutes? So what does 10 minutes mean to you? And the whole premise is, if we can just take 10 minutes before we say, get ready for the day, get in our car. If we can take 10 minutes to clean up, we can prevent falls. If we can take 10 minutes to make sure our medications are put away, we can prevent accidental poisonings. If we can, so it goes on and on and on about whatever it means to you, what personally 10 minutes means. So they're going to be kicking off the campaign using Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So anyway, if you see it, if you can help spread the word, I think it's a really great initiative. I love the idea of preventing instead of trying to fix something. So I think it's a really kind of clever campaign that they're kicking off. So anyway, look for it on social media and we'll try and spread it around.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any further reports? No. Okay, I believe we're on to bylaws. Ms. White Fox.
That the following bylaws be taken as read 3 times and finally passed in open council. Bylaw 2020-038 being a bylaw to amend the township's procedural bylaw. And bylaw 2020-040 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 023-18 as amended, being the zoning bylaw of the township of Plymouth.
Perfect. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Spillis, seconder, Councillor Bummer.
Okay,
Perfect. All in favor? Councillor Spillis,
In favor?
Councillor Bailey,
In favor?
Councillor Bummer,
in favor.
Councillor Goida.
In favor.
I'm in favor. That's carried as well. All right. Now into the closed session. Good. Resolution there, Ms. White Fox.
That council shall go into closed session under section 239 of the Municipal Act for the purpose of adoption and receipt of the minutes of the previous closed meeting, being August 12th, 2020 closed meeting, and a confidential report ADM-2020-034 from Glenn Schwendinger, CAO clerk, regarding personal matters about an unidentifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, organization review.
Okay, thank you. Before I get a mover and seconder, I'm going to thank everybody in the gallery. If there looks like we might have a few participants that attended today, we appreciate it. So if I get a mover for that, please. Councillor Goida, seconder. Councillor Bailey, all in favor. Councillor Spillis,
In favor?
Councillor Bailey,
In favor?
Councillor Bummer,
Favor?
Councillor Goida,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. That's carried. I believe we'll be going into closed session. Thank you, everyone.